All right, guys, you seen the title. They nailed me to the cross. Everything. Found guilty on everything. Probation for both charges. 100. I don't even know. I don't remember what the judge said the fines were. Didn't matter, folks. All they did exactly what I thought they would. I've been telling you people for years. I use the Constitution, and the Constitution doesn't mean shit to anybody, and especially Mahoney County courtroom. Constitution don't mean nothing to them. Constitution don't mean nothing to, and I'm going to single him out, but I'm not talking about any other officers at this point on the Boardman Township police officers. I'm only talking about one of them. And that's the clown that put me in this position. He don't even know what the truth is. You couldn't get the truth out of him if you beat him with a truth stick. He wouldn't know where to begin. But he wasn't even the worst one in all this. He wasn't even the worst one. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if any of you've dealt with this guy. I can't remember his name. But he works for the prosecutor's office. This guy, he's got a demon in him. He's either a demon himself or he's got one in him. That man he lies for his job. No shit, people. This guy, he better get his head on straight. Yeah, he can, before he dies, if he gets his head on straight, gets God in his heart, Holy Spirit in his soul, and the Word of God in his mind, he can be saved. But the way he's going right now, he probably weighs pretty close to 400 pounds. Got so many chins, he can't hardly bend his neck down to look at his phone. And this man lies. Oh, my. And he knows he's lying. He gets these witnesses, he gets these police officers, even your witnesses that you have summoned. He gets his hands on them before they even come to court. And they all sit down and do this. Prosecutor goes, this is what I'm going to say, and this is what you say. This is what I'm going to say, and this is what you say. This is what I'm going to say, and you're going to say this. And they plan out this whole dance back here in the prosecutor's office while you're sitting out there waiting to go see the judge. Now, the guy, Andrew Bell, I tried to talk to this guy on the phone before I ever got him summoned into court. I had no hard feelings about this guy. I knew he wasn't behind this. I knew he wasn't behind it. But whatever they told him, whatever they promised him or whatever, this man got in that witness seat and lied. He sat up there and lied. That's the truth. That's the truth, Charles. That's the truth. They don't. But where was I at? He said, what was it? Oh, let me go back. People, go right straight into the court. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, they sit back there and do this whole song and dance. If there's officers involved, he tells them what he's going to say. This is what you say. This is how you answer it. And it's all a puppet show. It's all a horse and pony show when they get out there in the courtroom. Well, they did this with my own witness. They turned my own witness against me and then got him to lie, sitting in that courtroom and lie. But anyway, people, their two witnesses, the Officer Dubas, and it was their other witness was there to make the claim. I turned my car towards Officer Dubas when I was leaving and tried to run over him. That's what she was there for. That was their witness of that. And when they put her in the witness stand, and I saw her when she come out of the courtroom, she walked over to get something out of her car, and I was sitting there in my car. And when I saw her, I knew that's what she was there for. But this woman now, she works as a cashier in Giant Eagle and knows me pretty well. Or she knows about me. I got my channel when all this stuff first happened. She knew I had health problems. She knew that me and Andrew Bell had made an agreement that if I come in the store and held the mask, just held it between me and the person that's ringing it up, just hold it up in front of my face, that they would ring it up and I could be served in there. But we agreed that if I didn't hold it up, they wouldn't serve me. So that was, and she backed it up that it was for a while that went on. And while I had her in the witness stand, I even asked her, I said, well, now that you're here, have you heard of me? Or I'd ask her to name anybody, a manager or whoever, because during this whole thing, Officer Dubas and this clown prosecutor kept making claims that I had been told not to come on the property, that I had been told not to, or to leave because I wouldn't wear a mask. And they have told me this many times. And there have been many incidences between me and other managers and me and other cashiers or whatever. So, and this woman, I wish I'd have known her name. I would have brought her in as a witness. And I used her for that. And so I asked her, have you heard, or can you name one of these managers or one of these other cashiers or anybody that you've heard that I've had problems with in there since this mask thing had happened? I mean, she had something she didn't understand or what. So I re-asked the question, and she answered it and said no. And I said, so are you telling me you haven't even heard from anybody in there that there was any other problems between me and anybody else after that originally, where I was escorted out the door and then they went back in and got their stuff for me? Now, I nailed it hard. And people that should have worked great for me because they kept focusing on that. But anyway, first thing in the door, man, people, and these guys, and I can tell you this, I get 50 views. I guarantee you 30 of them is the people that work in that courtroom and the police department, probably even Mahoney County Sheriff's Department around here. They watch my stuff more than anybody because they all know my channel, know about my channel. And they know I've said they won't put a mask on me. Right in the door of the courtroom. The prosecutor isn't wearing a mask. The judge isn't wearing a mask. The bailiff isn't wearing a mask. None of the damn sheriff deputies in the courtroom are wearing a mask. And the prosecutor demands the judge put a mask on my face because I am not vaccinated. And the judge looks at me like, and I go, well, you all know I have health problems. I have heart problems and lung problems. I can't put a mask on. And the judge didn't say no more about it, but he tried one more time to get a mask on me. Oh, I know that for a fact, and especially to me. I only have 30 to 40% of my lung capacity right now. That's all I got. Can't put a mask on my face. But anyway, they tried again, folks, put a mask on my face, and they did not happen. And even the judge, he had the deputies drag a chair over or a table over to one side and got me a chair and set the microphone over there or whatever, and sat me down there and told me now if it becomes a problem me getting around too close to people, then he'd make me put on a mask. And I said, Your Honor, I can't wear a mask. I can't do it. And so he didn't say no more about the mask. Now I'm telling you, people, my blood pressure, man, I was shaking. I was shaking in there because this prosecutor, he is pure evil, man. Every 400-pound inch of him, pure evil. And you can see it in his eyes and the way he talks to you. He refuses to admit what the laws are. No, he ain't going to admit that. But anyway, when I got Steve Dubus in the damn witness stand, he was talking about how the Giant Eagle wanted me criminally trespassed from their store for not wearing a mask. And they claim if he's working security, and he even called it, he was off duty. But if he's working security at the Giant Eagle, he is a police officer and on duty. But when they asked him what he was doing, he called it off-duty overtime. So you can't be both. So that was another lie that prosecutor stuck in there. I didn't catch that one at the time. But I made Steve Dubus admit that the governor's mandate had a medical exemption in it for people with health problems. He didn't want to admit it, but he did. Now, the prosecutor tried to get my questions dropped or stopped or whatever, and he kind of, in a way, did on a few things, but the judge just told me I needed to re-ask the question. Even on one, he even told me what to say, the first 3 words, I think it was, because he wanted the question answered too. So he was telling me, and by the time he was telling me what the first 3 words I was supposed to say, I done forgot what the rest of it was, folks. My nerves were like this. Well, your blood pressure's up, shit, you can't breathe. And being surrounded by evil, man, and the hate in that building, yeah, I'm breathing, man. My mouth dried out. I had to ask for some water and shit. But the worst was when they got my witness up there. My witness was claiming all these incidences at this store about me not wearing a mask. Now, this guy, he manages the other Giant Eagle in this town, which is on 224. And I've been going in and out of that store since I was told I couldn't go in this other store. Now, he manages both of them. And while he was sitting in the witness stand, they're saying he knew all about it. He knew all about me causing all that trouble over there and not wearing a mask and stuff. And I asked him, well, if you run both those stores, wouldn't you think that other store, if you was involved in this from the get-go, wouldn't you think your other store would have had me fully trespassed? If I was trespassed from one, wouldn't I be trespassed from the other? And he said, yeah, I would say. And I said, well, your manager's at your other store because I've been going into both of those stores all along. If I was closer to the other store, I'd go in it. If I was down there by that store, I'd go in it. And we, at one time, or after the decision was made at the Durrell store, they found out about it at the other store. They talked to me and said, yeah, we'll do the same thing here. Just when you get ready to pay, just hold the mask up. They were doing it up until the governor's mandate dropped the mask thing. I was doing it at both stores. That's why I say Andrew Bell was not involved in this from the get-go, but they got him to lie and say he was. the manager of this store. But he can't understand why the managers at his other store that he runs that store too, why they wouldn't have been told that I was trespassed from there too. And I was in that store yesterday. People, all this stuff came out in that courtroom. And the prosecutor sat in there and told in the courtroom, said any officer basically can walk up to you and detain you under his own suspicion. I'm yelling at this guy in the courtroom, you're crazy. That don't happen. The only way they can illegally detain, I didn't say you're crazy. I said the only way you can, officer can do a legal detainment is they have to articulate what crime you've either committed, about to commit, or in the process of committing. Investigation is not detainable. Now, if you were running down the street and a description of somebody who just robbed a store or stole something from a store, and you got on a blue shirt and a pair of jeans, and you're walking down, or you're running away from that area and a cop stops you, yeah, if you're fitting the description, yeah, he can detain you for that. And see who you are to see, because they've got an open description looking for a certain person. But if they're looking for a black guy and you're a white guy, sorry for your luck, he don't fit the description. You can't just walk up and detain people. But these guys think you can. And that's what they want you to believe. That an officer can, you don't have to do nothing. That an officer can just walk up, say, boy, where's your papers? I want to know who you are. You make me suspicious. Where's your papers? Because that's what Steve Dubus likes to do. And people, he said on the witness stand, he has been a Boardman Township police officer for 18 years. 18 years, folks, on the same police force. And he is still an officer. Still. You're right about that. It is. No, really, it's not it's suspicious. If you claim to be a citizen, if you live within inside the borders of the United States, you are a criminal. They're just they just haven't gotten around to you yet. That's all it is to it, folks. That's what I've been telling everybody for over 10 years. I'm going in that courtroom trying to use the Constitution and the rules that the Constitution put in place, which gives them the authority at one time to do what they do. Or they claim it gives them that authority. And this is what I try to tell you all the time. I've proven it to you. The Constitution does not exist. It does not exist. They do not go by it. That's why they call you a democracy. And that's all it is. Now, I've got to put a shout out for Nick Newland. He's a Boardman PD officer. I figure, I don't know how long he's been an officer on this force, but he'll be a sergeant before Officer Dubus will be. Dubious. But I got to give him a shout out. All I wanted him to do was go in that courtroom and tell the truth about what he thought the answers would be to my questions. He didn't know what I was going to ask. I never told him or talked to him about it. But that's all I wanted him to do. And he did. 100%, not even twist. Now, I got to give that to that man. I got to give it to him. Now, my other witness, Mike Manis, I've told you before, he's in the Armies. He's in the Army Reserves. He couldn't make it into court. He's gone for that. So I really, after all I really wanted was what Nick Newland did for me anyway. So, but I got to give it to him. I put a little bit more trust in him than a lot of people around here. That's for sure. But people, it just because they refuse to see the evidence. I don't even know why we even play the game, folks. Evidence doesn't matter. This ain't the first courtroom I've been in that evidence didn't matter. I had a Indiana State trooper over in Johnson County. I owned my own semi at the time, driving my own semi tractor. I'd pulled other people's trailers, but I had my own tractor at the time. This officer, now I was running, we were running mail for the post office, leased trucks on with the post office. Now, in order to do that, the post office would make you put your truck to a shop, and they would turn your truck down, set the governor at 72 mile an hour, or 72, I wish, 62 to 63 mile an hour. If you're running mail, that's what they did. Now, I ran local. I wasn't running over the road with the mail. I'd pick it up at the main mail drop, or at the airport, or over where they sorted it, and then I would haul it from there to the actual post offices around Indianapolis. And but this state trooper, whenever I'd come through this one part of Johnson County, he'd pull me over, write me a ticket, 75, and a damn, I think it was a 55 mile an hour zone through there. Might have been 60. But he'd write me a ticket for 75 mile an hour in that zone. I went in because of my license, talked to the prosecutor. They drop it down to equipment violation. I pay them a $150 fine, leave with no points, no insurance hikes or anything. 2 weeks later, pull me over again. 75 mile an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. Same cop. He come up this time, and he tells me, he goes, man, I got you at 75. I go, 75 again? I said, I see what it is. Your damn radar gun's broken at 75, huh? And he wrote me a ticket for it. Now this time, I went into court. I got the post office, people from the post office to come in, the mechanic that set the governor on the truck to go in and state that could reach 75 mile an hour. And Indiana, folks, is flat. There are no hills. So if you get the wind at your back, it might help you a little bit, but you're not getting no help from hills. Bridges, if you go over a bridge coming down, you might get a little bit more of a run or something. It's flat, folks. Brought all those people into that courtroom. They told the judge, there ain't no way that truck does 75 mile an hour. We'll take you out there and put you in it, take you out on the highway. He didn't care. He looked at me, this judge in Johnson County courtroom in Indiana, he looked at me and he said, I don't care how many witnesses you bring in here saying your truck won't do 75 mile an hour. I don't care what evidence you bring in here. He goes, you see that man? And he pointed at the state trooper. He goes, that man's been on the force for 32 years, or 22 years maybe. Well, I think he said 32 years. If that man says you was doing 75, you was doing 75 mile an hour, period. I said, you got to be kidding me. That, went in there, paid the fine, walked the hell out. But it was ridiculous, folks. Ridiculous. That none of the evidence, the judge did not care. As far as I'm concerned, that's the exact same thing that happened today. Their own eyewitness helped my case more than it helped them. Because as soon as I showed them my video, the eyewitness and Officer Dubas both said that I turned my car towards him. And he was lucky he jumped out of the way or I would have run him over. Even the witness said that. Looking me in my eye and said it. But when I showed the judge my video that shows me turning my steering wheel all the way to the right as far as it would go before I pulled around that officer, proving those two people just lied about that didn't change a thing. Didn't change a thing. Matter of fact, judge told me in the end, my videos hurt me more than they helped me. He don't even know why I used them. Folks, if you think the Constitution is still in play and this doesn't prove it to you, they fine me, I think it's, I don't know, I think it's $150 per charge. 2 charges, I think it's $300. They're supposed to send me the paperwork. They put me on a 12-month probation and suspended 160-day jail term. Now listen, they made me go in and talk to the probation officer before I could even leave the courtroom. And when I talked to her and I talked to the other people, I said, as soon as I appeal this, you guys know this is all going to be stopped. But anyway, this woman looked at me. She's looking at the papers the judge just filled out. He just got done. I waited for him to fill them out. She's looking at the papers. She looks me dead in my eye and says, this ain't nothing but about the money. I'm going, I know that. But what are you talking about? What do you mean? I mean, all this, the cops, courthouses, it's all about revenue. Been saying that for years. This probation officer, or she said she was in training. That the other woman, the actual one had to step out or something, but she said she was in training, but it would be her or the other woman that I'd be dealing with. You notice how they put a woman in that position, don't you, folks? Don't you notice that? People that don't believe in the Bible don't care. But anyway, this woman told me this is all about the money. And what she meant was, she said, there's no stipulation to your probation. And I said, well, what does that mean? What do you mean stipulations? She said, well, if you would be in here because of a DUI, you would have to do alcohol classes and some kind of driving course or something. If you'd been in here for drugs, you'd be doing a drug course. And it is, man. You'd be doing a drug course and probably being tested for drugs or whatever. She said, there is no stipulations on this. It's about the money. She goes, as soon as you get the money paid off, you won't even have to show up here. But till you get the money paid off, you got to show up here once a month, bring the payment in, see me, and go home. That's all it is. But once the money's done, once you pay off the fines, You don't even have to come in here no more. Or she can give that or make that happen. I said, oh, okay. And the judge told me the same thing. So people, if that don't prove it to you once again, this is not about justice, not about truth. That has nothing to do with in a courtroom. It's all about the money. And they find the biggest demon they can find, and they put them in them prosecutors' offices. The ones that are a little bit better than the lawyers. That's where they get them, folks. And you can rest assured that man that sat as the prosecutor on my trial, he don't even know what the word Jesus is. He has no clue. If he does, he's hoping he's going to live long enough to retire from that position, I'm sure, and be able to get all that money. And then in his retirement years, he's going to be able to find Jesus and God and Holy Spirit then. But he'll still have all of his ill-gotten booty from being this prosecutor. And he won't give that up. And when he don't give that up, he won't be reborn. And on top of it, with his weight problem and everything, I'd say his heart's probably not far off. He looked bad shape, man. Worst one in there, in that whole building that I saw. But people, that's basically what happened. I don't see it as a loss, because I've been telling you people that the Constitution doesn't exist and they don't go by it. And they don't. I try, and I've read, and I'm going to tell you this. They say my license, I have no license because it don't say Ohio on it. Yet when if you pull me over, it says it's a valid license. But they control whether they want to accept it as a license or not. And they don't accept it. Then before I left, they proceeded to tell me, and if I can't come up with some kind of proof of insurance, they're going to suspend whatever license I do have. People, I had a license and I had insurance. I went out to my car, showed them the insurance papers, and shut that down immediately. Ridiculous that they can get away with this. I'm not going to say nothing more about, or nothing bad right now about the Boardman Township officers. There's a couple of them I don't like, don't care about, don't want to be around. A lot of them I don't even know. And a handful full of them I can deal with. One of them, I believe, or two of them, I believe are good guys. I'll just leave it at that. I don't really know any of the other ones to say one way or another, because I don't know what they think of me. I don't know. It don't matter what they do or not. But I don't know what they think of me. I already know there's been many meetings about Watachi and Brian. So I don't know what they think. But we're going to see. Oh, this is it. I was telling the judge, I said, tell me something, Your Honor. How does a man in this state get his license changed over to Ohio when you go down here to the BMB and they tell you, well, we got to have, we need electric bill, water bill, phone bill, something in your name. We need a lease, proving you're on the lease. Maybe, what? I don't know. I don't know if you have to, I don't know what else. Because my wife had just done hers not very long ago. And my daughter done hers last year. But they told me all the stuff that you needed. Now, when the government's already taken everything you've ever had and everything you will have ever had, I don't have nothing in my name. I don't have electric bills in my name because I can't pay them. I don't have banking accounts or nothing in my name because I don't have money. The cars are not my name because I can't pay for them. So somebody like me, how do you get this paperwork that the state of Ohio demands in order to get yourself legal? Well, the judge looked at me and he said, well, you've proven yourself to be pretty resourceful through this trial. Figure it out. That's what he told me. Now, in the very end, and this is the last I'm going to say about it, me and the judge is sitting there. I'm waiting for him in the courtroom. I'm waiting for him to finish writing the paperwork up before I can leave. It's me, the judge. I'm not for sure if the bailiff was still in there or not. I think she might have walked out. And then there was this sheriff deputy still in there with me and the judge. But I'm sitting there thinking about what just happened and went on in that courtroom. And the lies that come out of the people that came in, or some of the people. But I'm sitting there thinking about that, and I just speak up. Judge is sitting up there. And I said, how did I word it? I said, America sure ain't what it used to be. The judge looked right up at me and said, you're right about that. Went back to work. I wanted to look at him and say, it's because of people like you. It's because of people like Steve Dubas that takes advantage of it, walks on it. It's people like that prosecutor. All he's looking for is another notch on his damn prosecution list. That's it. But all them notches, he's put a lot of notches in his soul that he's going to have to deal with one day. That, or he won't. Then he'll get what he deserves. If you guys can think, I found in I was found in a democracy courtroom guilty because they can do what they damn well want. That's basically it. There are no rules for them, folks. The Constitution isn't in play. When that was taken down, the government no longer had any chains on it. When they took down the Constitution, you became a democracy after the Civil War. This is more proof. This is a win for my channel, folks. This is a win for my channel. This is what I've been talking about all along. Since I started this channel in 2000, I think it's 15. Watch my videos. If you don't believe that, just watch my videos. They made a criminal out of me just like they said they would. And like I said, you're all criminals. They just ain't gotten to you yet. That, or you're one of the herd. See, they think, well, I don't even know. They could be a $500,000 fine. I don't even know. I don't even fucking know, to be honest with you. But they think this $500 fine, this probation they stuck me on, they think they're now going to have a control over me and my channel with that. That this is going to scare me. Well, they didn't prove I did anything wrong in the first place. That courtroom, it states they're supposed to prove beyond the reasonable doubt. They didn't do that. And the judge claimed, I'm just following the law. I'm just following the law. Like he can't do nothing else. Like there's a judge that's on, I think it's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's on TV. People come in there with all kinds of shit. And he looks at them, and because they might have kids or a sob story or something, he'll look at them and say, you know what? What do you think we ought to do talking to his bailiff? And the bailiff look at him, and if it's good enough, I don't know. He might be the prosecutor, not the bailiff. But they sit there and let people go all the time. If all he could do is just follow the law, then as a judge, he would not have any. He could not do that. But a judge can. That's what a judge does. He makes the decision. But this judge sat there and told me, I'm just following the law. I'm just following the law. And no evidence mattered. Well, he told me my videos hurt me. Well, they wouldn't have in a constitutional courtroom. In one of these medical martial law courtrooms, of course it didn't. But if not for my channel and me talking out about all of them over the last, March, April, May, June, March, April, May, no, March. Over the last 3 months, I talked about all of them on my channel, all of them. And if not for that, I wouldn't have stirred the egos up on all these people. And I talked about egos in that courtroom, folks, more than once. Egos of judges, prosecutors, and police officers. Judge wasn't as bad as I thought he was, but he had one. He had an ego about the mask thing. And he made a promise in my pre-trial that I'd be wearing a mask on my trial date. And they tried. They tried. That was another win for me, folks, right there. But he told me he was just following the law. And what the cops tell you, I was just following orders. It's all the same cry. They all say the same thing. You really think they're out here for you guys? Or are they out here for the corporation? The wizard behind the curtain. You guys better think about it. Till next one. This one here, 45 minutes almost. You guys that showed up, I appreciate you. I tried to read all your comments. I think I did. But I appreciate you out there. We'll see you in the next one. But make no mistake, you guys. God loves us all. And I love you too. And I hope you get Jesus in your life, man. Get Jesus in your life. It's not an easy life when you have him in your life, but you'll want him there in the long run. It's definitely not an easy life. If anybody thinks being a Christian, a follower of the way, is easy, you're far from it. It's the hardest job I've ever done in my life, folks. I've run recycling equipment. I've done some hard ass work. This is the hardest job I've ever had. It's not even a job, but it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I will not ever go back. Ever. Work too hard. But you guys got to get Jesus in your lives. It's not this world, man. It's going fast, fast, fast. It ain't going to get no better. Nobody's going to keep their oaths. Or if they do, then it's not the oath you guys are all told they took. They've taken another oath. You guys have a good day out there. Till next one.